All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we recap the playoffs. Niners, we're in Philly, getting ready for Niners Eagles, but let's talk NFL playoffs. Rams Panthers, exciting game. Rams win the game at the end, 34-31, but let's talk a little bit about it. Rams took a 14-0 lead on Puka Nacua's 2 touchdowns. He had 1 rushing, 1 receiving. He looked amazing. And then Carolina, early in this game, lost their star left tackle, Ekawanu. Uh, he was out with a knee injury. That was a major loss. But then Chuba Hubbard scored a touchdown to make it 14-7 Rams. And then there was a punt return. Um, Trevor Etienne had a fumble on a punt return. And that obviously turned the ball over. Bryce Young ran for a touchdown to make it 17-14. And it looked like the Rams were going to put the game away before half, but Puka Nacua dropped a would-be touchdown at the end of the second quarter. So he had a very close ball game. Stafford, though, in the second half came alive. He did hit his hand on DJ Wanham's helmet. And at one point, from that point on, I think he went two for 10, not from that point on, but of his next 12 passes, he went 2 for 10. Carolina hung in this game because quarterback Mike Jackson was awesome. He did a really nice job of covering Puka Nacua in the third quarter, and then he had a huge interception in that third quarter for Carolina. Hubbard's 3-yard touchdown run gave Carolina a 24-20 lead. And then Stafford's 13-yard pass to Kyron Williams made it LA 27-24. And then Isaiah Simmons blocked a punt, and Carolina got the ball at the Rams' 30-yard line. And Bryce Young would find Jalen Coker on a 7-yard pass play, and Carolina was up 31-27. And you're thinking, you know what? Carolina might be able to pull the upset. But the Rams and Stafford got the ball back with 2 minutes and 39 seconds left on the clock. And then Stafford just did what Stafford does. Little stop route to Puka, little stop route to Devontae Adams, another pass to Devontae Adams, another pass to Nacua. And eventually Stafford found Colby Parkinson for a 19-yard score. Beautiful catch along the sideline by Parkinson. The Rams have really good tight ends between Ferguson, Davis Allen, Higbee, and Parkinson. I mean, they are loaded at tight end with a ton of talent. And LA comes back and they get the 34-31 win. So huge win for the Rams for sure. Panthers, man, they almost pulled the upset. It was there for the taking, and they just couldn't finish the deal. Stafford, did just enough to make just enough plays to win the game, and the Panthers get the win, or the Rams get the win over the Panthers. So good, entertaining first game. If you took Panthers the points, you covered. If you're a Rams fan, you're happy because you're moving on to the second round. If you're a 49er fan, you were dreaming there for a minute. You're like, wait a second. If the Niners could beat the Eagles, if Carolina beat the Rams and Green Bay wins tonight, it would be Carolina and the Niners in the second round, and that would have been appetizing. But instead, the Rams prevail. The better team wins the game, and the Rams are moving on, and Carolina's going home. All right, a couple more thoughts on 49ers Eagles as we are less than 24 hours away from Niners Eagles in the wild card round right here in Philadelphia. And we should tell you our trip to Philly is brought to you by Claw Daddy Arcades. Claw Daddy is awesome. We appreciate him. Thank you to Claw Daddy. There it is. Look at that, bottom of the screen. Claw Daddy Arcades. He's a great guy, and he's a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades. Locations in San Diego, LA, Palmdale, Visalia, Fresno, Modesto, and Capitola. Thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. And we should tell you that. We'll throw that in there. Where was our other? There it is. No, we'll just go with our sleeper. Where's our sleeper? Where's our sleeper ad? Where is it? Is that it? Yeah, there we go. All right. Um, so anyway, huge win for the Rams, and now they move on. Now let's talk a little bit about the Niners and the Eagles. And I think this game is going to be really interesting. First of all, if you're Kyle Shanahan, you know what the speech is to the guys. The speech is, hey, look, Sirianni and the Eagles wanted you guys. There's no respect there. It's total disrespect. Eagles decided to rest guys in week 18 and not go for the number 2 seed so they would get the Niners over the Packers. That wasn't accidental. Nobody should view that as accidental. That was Sirianni disrespecting the 49ers, saying, hey, I'd rather play the Niners because the analytics say that Green Bay is going to be tougher. So these guys gave up a potential home playoff game, which they could have had if they had been the 2 seed. They gave up a potential home playoff game to make sure that they got the Niners and not the Packers in the first round. So if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm spelling that out to my guys pretty clearly. The disrespect is off the charts. Nick Sirianni wanted you guys. He handpicked you guys. He thought he could beat the tar out of you guys and rhythmically beat you down. And now here it is. Be careful what you wish for. Make him regret that decision. I think that's the speech. If you're Shanahan, you're talking to your guys tonight. You're saying, hey, look, these guys have disrespected us. They wanted us. They chose us. They coughed up the last game of the year so that they would get us in the first round and not Green Bay. Let's make them pay for wanting us in the first round. I mean, that's the message. It has to be the message. All right, couple quick thoughts. I mean, big concerns that I have in this game. Can the Niner wide receivers, Jennings, Pearsall if he plays, Kendrick Bourne, can they get separation against Quinyon Mitchell, against Cooper DeJean, against Adoree Jackson? I think that's one of my main questions. Can the Niner receivers get separation from the Philly corners? I think that's a big question in this thing. Philly, is the number 1 defense in football defending tight ends. So you're not going to probably be able to lean on George Kittle to just save you in this game. Philly's really good at defending tight ends, so they're going to have to be creative in their pass game. One of the huge keys is going to be a game time decision for both teams. Is Ricky Pearsall going to play? If not, the Niners don't have a deep threat. And is Lane Johnson going to play for the Eagles? And if not, the Eagles don't have a Hall of Fame offensive lineman. And if you look at them this year, Philly with Lane Johnson, 7th in EPA per snap. Philly this year without Lane Johnson, 25th in EPA per snap. So damn right, that makes a huge difference. That's going to be a big, big decision. Is Lane Johnson, who's got a foot injury, he's had a Liz Frank injury, he's got a foot sprain right now, is he good enough to go? And if he can't go, the Eagles are a whole lot lesser of a football team. The other question I have is, can the Niners offensive line stand up to Philly's deep and talented and in their prime defensive line? That's a big concern across the board. Every single one of those guys is a major concern. Jordan Davis is a house. Jalen Carter is incredibly quick-footed interior player. Moro Ajomo is a big-time talent. Nolan Smith runs 4.4. I mean, they got a ton of dudes. Can the Niners offensive line stand up to the Philly deep, talented, and in their prime defensive line? The other concern I have is Eric Kendricks. Can he play pass coverage against Saquon Barkley? A year ago, he was in Dallas. He couldn't play pass coverage at all. And now here it is a year later. He sat out most of this year. I can't imagine he's any better in pass coverage. To me, that's going to be a key one. Is Saquon Barkley going to absolutely toast Eric Kendricks in pass coverage? The other big question is Demo Lenore. He's got 10 defensive penalties on the year. Can he play clean football and defend the ball down the field with poise against Brown and Smith? I think that's a huge question. So there are a lot of questions in this game. Brock Purdy's got 5 interceptions off play action. I hope the 49ers don't use a lot of play action early. Why? Because the Eagles have shown in past games that they're not going to honor the play fake at all. And they're just going to go hunt the quarterback. So, really, what you're doing is you're taking the quarterback and you're taking a second and a half off of him by making him carry out a fake before he scans the field. And Purdy's got 5 interceptions off play action this year. That's 2 more than any other NFL quarterback. So, I hope they don't go heavy play action in this game. A couple things that are really interesting to me. One, Saquon Barkley out of 11 personnel has regressed significantly. This year he's averaging 3.8 yards per carry out of 11 personnel. That's 3 wides, 1 back, 1 tight end. Last year he was averaging over 6 yards a carry with 11 personnel. So Barkley's not running it as effectively as he has, and I think that's going to be a big factor in this game as well. So, overall, I mean, you look at the 49ers and you're like, they're super banged up, and there's all kinds of ways you can envision the 49ers losing this game. But if you look closely at Brock Purdy's numbers, he's played well against Philadelphia. And I expect him to bounce back and play well in this game. And if he has a good first half and Shanahan can have a good first half and the Niners can put some points on the board, they have a realistic chance of getting it done in Philly on Sunday. We should tell you 49er football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. Use promo code Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. 2 locations right now, a third on the way. Emeryville and Corte Madera, and a third on the way in Petaluma. We're going to go watch Bears-Packers right now and find out, what that game's going to look like and get ready for a big Sunday here in Philadelphia. So that's going to do it for us. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to our sponsors, and thanks for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.